Veve have begun to take more steps when it comes to stopping bot accounts from getting the drops. And in the last few days, this has actually been shown to be the case, as more people on my timeline and just regular users seem to be getting these. So does this mean your marketing strategy should change when it comes to collecting and flipping? And how should you maybe think about this moving forward with your investments and this company? Let's get started. Welcome in everyone, my name is Andy and I appreciate you taking some time out your day to come watch this video on the channel. Just before we get going, if you are enjoying the content and you want to support me further, you can hit that subscribe button, and if you want to support me further than that, you can join the membership. Right, so we have obviously seen, if you've been on Veve, that they've been taking more steps to try to stop this bot usage that's been going on for probably a while now. Veve admitted themselves that there were bot problems and they disabled gem transfers and collectible transfers. This was to stop people from transferring like 80 different of the same collectible to the one platform and then all that sort of stuff. So it is a really good step forward, but from the people who analyze the data and the drops from the unique wallets who are getting them, we're actually seeing that more regular users seem to be getting these drops rather than someone who has zero collectibles in their account. Now, what this does mean, and what has happened over the last few days then, is with some of these drops, they've taken a little bit longer to sell out, meaning there's less people who are actually getting these drops to flip for a profit because there's not as many sort of users who are dumping right away rather than actually holding because they're genuine collectors and they want to collect. Now, it doesn't mean that people don't flip as well. Of course, some people are still looking for the profit, and the profit is still there to be made by some things, but what is important to take note of is that we're seeing better, healthy growth when it comes to the people who are actually getting these drops. There was a while where there was a lot more people becoming more and more bearish on what Veve was as a whole. They weren't meeting deadlines, weren't looking at this bot problem maybe as seriously as we'd hoped. It's not to say they weren't, but just in the public's view, that was the way it was going. And therefore, less people started to go for the drops because they had no chance. It took them 4 or 5 months before they even got a drop, and therefore people just didn't go in for the drop anymore and they left the app and all that sort of stuff. This is when it came back to the amount of users who were actually on there and us not getting the true data for it, because now that we're on Immutable, we can see from Immutascan we have around 600,000 wallets with at least one collectible in their wallet, and that's taken from Pyromaniac or Crispy Chili. I believe they've done quite a lot. Pre-drop unique owner count was 603,000, and this was on April the 8th. So we're close enough from where it is. This sort of data is really interesting to see because, of course, now we're not actually at that 2.6 million range of users. I'm not sure if it was ever confirmed that it was 2.6 million users or 2.6 million downloads and that sort of stuff, because active users compared to actual downloads, there's a lot of variation there, and the wording has to be really correct with what you're actually saying. But with this being the case and drops now not selling out the same way they maybe used to, well, for some people who came on, they're not. This may change your strategy with the way that you're going and the way you should be strategizing, what you're collecting, what you're buying and purchasing moving forward. What I mean by this is that now that drops are taking longer to sell out, we're sort of in the period of time last year where comics came out and you could get 13 comics in the one drop. There were enough for you to actually get. Now, we're not quite at that stage anymore because there are a lot more users and a lot more unique people actually getting into this space. But because they seemingly are sorting this bot problem, we're now coming to a stage where Veve will have to grow their loyal following again and get more people who are actually involved and actively involved in what's going on here. With the last 2 drops, I managed to get 2 of the Batman drops from the series Black and White. I also managed to pull the stamp yesterday, and I got 2 Coca-Cola drops. Now, I know some people got 14 Coca-Cola drops and paid for all of them. So that does mean that we're obviously in a stage where it does seem to be that the bot problem is lowering significantly, as some of these people weren't even able to get a drop for the last 4 and 5 months. And I certainly wasn't able to get a drop. I was getting maybe 1 comic every 2 months or so, and I was going for all the drops. But now that's changed, and this is a really good thing for the company overall. It just now comes upon the new things that they have to bring in order to grow that following, provide that utility, and a reasoning for people coming back. For me personally, I am now going to be focusing on specific things to collect and specific reasons for them. I love the individual artists that are on Veve and what they're doing. They're getting viewed for that. I also love that they're bringing in more brands and they're having more people getting involved into what Veve is as a whole. But that means that my strategy, as of right now anyway, since I've been in here for over a year now, is going to be more so on the long-term things that I believe believe will hold its value or what I enjoy most. If there's something I really love and I don't really care about its value, I'll be more than happy to get it. I'm really not bothered by that. But for the things I am looking when it comes to an investment standpoint, then I really am going to be honing in on exactly what I believe will be more successful than others. So for me, this is more in the things on the upside of Disney. So the likes of Star Wars, maybe the golden moments and that sort of stuff. That's my area that I'm aiming for. And when it comes to some other things, especially if we get something like the Pride collection again, where there's a lot of low mints and additions within that, that's something I'm going to go for, as I see it will hold that value, and it's something that I believe I can either make a profit off of or grow my set collection for when the Master Collector comes out. Because this is the case, and we're obviously having to sort of restructure our framework, this is the way that I'm wanting to move forward personally, and I want to sort of put that on to all of you who are continuing to use Veve and believing in Veve as a company. Because as of right now, it seems like the number of people who are going for these collections is way below what the edition sizes are. So most things probably won't sell out in a second anymore. And this is actually a really good thing. Veve has always said that their goal was to get to a point where you had to decide which one you actually wanted to go for. Did you want to go for this drop? Did you not? You're going to have to make that decision. You're not going to be able to get everything unless you have unlimited amounts of money, and obviously most of us don't, and therefore you're going to have to pick and choose. This means there's going to be things in the store for new users when they come in that can actually buy, which again, Veve want to do because they don't want everyone just to buy from the secondary market. If they're aiming for the likes of Walmart or Amazon NFTs, then they're going to have things in stock, and therefore having things in stock will allow people to actually come into the app and experience the joys of collecting and growing their sort of collectible sets when they do this. This is of course short-term thinking, the way I'm saying that right now, but when we think long-term, we then have to think of their plans and what they actually meant to do. Hero, an app I've talked about a few times on this channel already, have incentivized collecting in a way of leaderboards, and also a reward for being up on those leaderboards. And I believe they've actually mentioned that they want to increase that reward for people who can't afford best of the best when it comes to that, because it's really expensive. So by increasing that utility sense of lower things as well, providing more of a reason for your collectors to actually collect. And this is what Veve's plan was to do for a long time. Have things where the Master Collector program came into play. You could rank up against other people. You have the Master Collector program where you can get involved and you can pay for it monthly to get some exclusive benefits. These points are going to add up where you can enter into the drop raffle. So once all of these are into play, they are really going to add additions to what Veve is as a whole. And at this point, if you still believe in what Veve can do in the next 2 to 5 years, then this could be a great opportunity for you to really build that set base that is going to pay off massively in the long run. Because this is something that I want you to also think about when it comes to that. You've got to first think about how long your investment's going to be, why you're doing it, and then sort of your reasoning for purchasing and selling some things. For some of you, it was just solely about flipping, and that's perfectly fine. That's great. Fantastic for you. So you're short-term thinking on that front. But if you are someone who's thinking long-term, by being able to get a stamp that was a one set and being able to get those set points every single time that you're doing that, then you can collect it. You now have the opportunity to complete things way below their retail price on the marketplace, because there's not as many people getting these drops as of right now anyway. As the growth has slowed down, as there's not really been things met or pushed forward with Veve right now, then it means you've got an opportunity to get in when everyone is looking elsewhere. People are looking at Hero and Recur right now because Veve haven't really delivered on anything that is going to be delivered. The web app's not out, KYC's not happened yet, we've not really got utility for most of the things on Veve, and therefore eyes are focused elsewhere. Again, that's not a bad thing, but if you're thinking about long-term investment, you've got to think left when everyone thinks right. For me, I'm trying to just use both eyes and go both ways. It's still quite hard, but I'm using my investment to the best of my ability. I've learned a lot from what Hero has been able to do so far, and I've also learned a lot about maybe some of the downfalls that Recur have actually faced, with only their public sale of 5,000 selling out, with around 70,000 tokens actually available, and the public sale only selling, from what I believe anyway, was around 3,000 of the Star Trek pieces. This goes to show that just because you have an IP for something doesn't actually mean that you are going to be successful with what you're selling. They were charging quite a lot for it, and I've not really seen that many people talking about it. This is why it's not only important to look at your following first and build that loyal fan base which Veve have been able to do over the last year or so with a solid foundation of what they got, because there really continues to be a lot of dedicated people on the app itself and on Twitter that I see every single day, as well as what Hero have been able to do by drawing the attention through adding the leaderboards, a collection of hybrid cards, comes to being a kid again, opening those packs, and the conversion into NFTs, building that sort of era together as one. I know I've kind of rambled on in this video talking about different areas of collecting and what Veve are doing now and this sort of bot problem decreasing, but I think it's really important to take note of the time period that we are in, because if we're in a spot where Veve are now taking better action towards bots not getting these drops, but you still believe in the success of what Veve are going to be able to do in the next few years, this could be your time as if you were in here last year, because everything is sort of down at the moment. A lot of things are really, really low compared to what they were in January. I think Tap said it was 60% of the all-time high from January. So that means we're seeing prices that we've not seen in a long while. I've been collecting more of the golden moments and as many as I can. I'm still trying to get those. I'm still trying to sell a few things in order to get more of the Disney golden moments. But this is an area for me where long-term investors play their cards right. I've all saw the things before about stocks and crypto and NFTs that you buy when everyone else isn't buying. You know, greedy when everyone else is fearful, fearful when everyone else is greedy. In January, it was the best time not to buy, and now is the best time to buy if your thoughts are bullish over the long run. So there's a lot going on in that mix when it comes to it, and a lot of moving parts. But I think it's important to take note of where we are right now, what they could do, and how you can take advantage of that. Back in the day when Todd was 250 gems, I thought he would never reach 1,000 gems, but I decided to take that leap because I believed in what Veve were going to do. He was therefore able to rise to 13k and is down at maybe 5k or so right now, but still that leap was something I decided to do because I believed that play was right, and so far it has been. That's not to say that it couldn't go to zero, it could absolutely shoot up from what it's at, but I think it's really, really important to analyze and give an overview of your overall investment strategy and how it changes as the company adapts to. There's some people who are going to sell all their OME, sell all their collectibles, get out and go elsewhere, and that's perfectly fine. And there's going to be some others who think are in the short term and are just looking for the flip, and maybe they're not buying so much right now and really pinpointing what they're wanting. And then you've got others in the long term who are thinking about, once this all rolls out, how is this really going to play forward? How are people going to come into this space? And how am I going to take advantage now for when they come in? When you're able to look at all of those, you're able to understand better what your moves are going to be and make more logical decisions rather than emotional. Because we've talked about this before, but these emotions don't really like you and don't really play well with you. So if you can be as logical as possible, look at the data and what's happening right now and seeing the shifts that we are seeing, this could be a good time to take advantage of that. There's a lot of people who I've been talking to are stacking a lot of the things that have went significantly lower from their all-time high. And this is because they believe in Veve's vision and what they're doing. This could be wrong and it could be right. Only time will actually be able to tell who is right or wrong about their fundamentals and their analysis from what's going on. No one has a magic and crystal ball. You've just got to sort of hope that your analysis and your research has done you well enough that it will pay off over the long run. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Veve right now. Are you happy that you're now able to get more drops? What are your thoughts on the return? And what are your thoughts long term for Veve? Are you buying right now? Or are you holding and waiting to see more information on what's happening? Maybe with the web app, KYC, or MTL. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of it. I know the video on the screen right now will be something you'll love to watch. Have a fantastic day.